Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing great. So in my today's video, I'm going to talk to you about Arman Financial Services Limited. We're going to go through their Q1 result, and and I'll take the most important points from the con call summary. So if you might have been following my channel or watching my videos, you might have you are aware of that I've tracked this company and made videos about this earlier. So just for the benefit of the new viewers, I'll just tell you in short what this company does, right? So Arman Financial Services Limited is an NBFC, and they lend money mostly into microfinance spaces. So the various divisions, or I would say the various places that they lend is first is microfinance, which is their main division. Then they have MSME finance for medium and small enterprises. Then they have loan against property and two-wheeler finance. So that is their main business. Of lending. These are the how to say sectors or areas where they lend. So let's look at their Q1 FY27 performance highlights and see how well they have done, right? So if you look at their asset under management, right, it has grown by almost 35.7% YOY to 2,925 crores, which is actually quite a good sign. And if you look in terms of disbursement, right, it has grown by 76% compared to the last year to 686 crores. Disbursement is nothing but the amount of loan that the financial company gives, right? So over here, the amount of loan that they have given, right, has increased by almost 76%, which clearly shows that overall economy is improving, that things are improving, and whatever the precautions that they had taken at the back of when the microfinance cycle turned down, things are improving, and they're ready to give more than. And if you look in terms of collection efficiency that they had, that they reported for this, it was around 96.6%. And if we look just in terms of their overall total income, right, it grew by almost 33.7% to 202 crores, and they made a profit of around 45 crores. So these are the main highlights, or I would say, the important points that I wanted to highlight first before I get more into details into the profit and loss statement, go through the asset quality and overall how things are improving, right? So one thing we definitely know, that the asset under management has grown, the disbursement has grown at a very high rate, and they have become profitable. And if you look at this income statement over here, right, so things are quite, how to say, positive, because if you look at the gross total income, right, it grew 34% YOY to from 151 to 201 crores. And at the same time, quarter and quarter also, it grew by almost 15%. Because we need to understand that why this quarter and quarter is important, especially for Q1, is right, because generally Q1 of FY20, Q1 of any quarter, especially from microfinance companies, right, are not that great. It's normally a lean quarter, but over here we can definitely see a net improvement. And if you look at their total income also, right, it grew by almost 39% from 98.8 crores to 137.5 crores. And if we take it compared to the quarter and quarter also, it increased by almost 12%. And when we go further down, right, we can see this pro-provisioning operating profit. So you might be saying, Masood, I have heard about profit after tax. What is pre-provisioning operating profit? So this is the actual profit that a bank or an NBFC makes before they do any provisions. The more the pre-provision of sometimes they call it PP or OP, pre-provisioning operating profit, then even if the provisions are high, the company will not make a loss. So it's very important that along with all the things which are improving, the pre-provision operating profit also improves. Over here, if we can see that their pre-provision operating profit increased by 39% YOY from 55 to 76.7 crores. And if you look from QOQ, it increased by almost 29%. And if you look in terms of the total provision write-off, which they did last year, right? Last year in quarter one of FY26, they did a provision of almost 66 crores. Now it has come down to almost to one third, to almost 20 crores. Which this also shows a good sign that the overall asset quality is improving. The number of GNP and NNPA are going down, and at the back of it, which the provisions are coming down, and that we can clearly say translates into the profit after tax, because last year they made a loss of around 14.6 crores. This year they made a profit of around 45.2 crores, which is actually quite a good sign. So if you actually see over here, right, I mean, you might have seen my other videos on other financial, especially in the microfinance sector, right? And if I look at Arman Financial also, right, I mean, there are enough signs to show us, you and me both, that the microfinance cycle is almost turned around. I mean, you can go check any other companies who are, financial institutions who are operating in microfinance, from Teletaxis, Grameen, Utkarsh, Small Finance Bank, other small finance bank, things are gradually improving. So, and things are actually turning around, and this next couple of years could be a good phase for this microfinance industry. So, obviously, we looked at the profit after tax and everything. Let's look at their various the how to say portfolio, where they lend the money and how much they contribute to the overall asset under management. And if you look at the screen over here, right? So, as I told you, majority comes from their microfinance sector. So, if you look at the microfinance, which is GLG, joint lending group, it contributes that overall it's contributes around 41.13% of their overall loan portfolio. Then they have an individual business loans in microfinance, which contributes to around 32.94%, and MSME loans contribute to around 19.58%. Two-wheeler loan is very small, around 3.17. Loan against property, which they recently started, has grown to almost 3.09%. And solar loans, which they have recently entered, is 0.1%. So when we look at this overall portfolio now, we clearly see that Arman Financial is heavily concentrated on the microfinance side, which contributes to around close to around 72 to 75% of their overall loan book. But at the same time, right, they are trying to get into more secure parts. We can see that their MSME loans are growing, two-wheeler loans, and then they entered into loan against property and solar loans. So let's see how these other things also improve, because at the end, along with the microfinance, if their secured loan portfolio also grows, now it would be a good, it would be quite a good sign for them. So even when the microfinance cycle turns bad in future, it would not have that adverse effect compared to what it had earlier. And if you look at their asset quality, right, that is also very important for any financial institution. It is very easy to give loans, but how much of these loans are coming back, that really matters. So we also need to look at the asset qualities of these institutions. So if you look at the asset quality over here, right, and if you look at the screen over here, right, first is the portfolio at risk movement between 31 to 90 days. So this is nothing. This is the overall loan portfolio which is at risk, which falls between money which is not being paid between 31 to 90 days. So over here, if you see, it includes all the portfolios: microfinance, MSME, two-wheelers, and loan against property. And we can clearly see, compared to last year, right, June of 2025, right? With the numbers were quite high for microfinance, for MSME, two-wheelers, and LP. Everything has actually improved. It has come down drastically. And if you look at the GNPA numbers also, right? So the GNPA numbers have improved for both microfinance, MSME, and two-wheelers. The only challenge I see is, right, over here, if you can see at the bottom, right, the loan against property GNPA has increased to 1.5%. You might be asking, Masood, how did that happen when every restaurant is improving? You need to understand, they last year only they started a loan against property, so there was literally no GNPA. It was at 0%. So obviously some loans might have gone bad at the back of it, which the GNPAs have increased. But at the same time, the exposure is so less, it would not impact the Arman Financial in a very bad manner. And if you look at the NNPA also, right, the NNPA for microfinance, MSME, LAP, all has improved. For especially if you look at the microfinance, right, which has come down to 0.9%. For for two-wheelers also, it has come down to 1.5%. So overall, if you see, the asset quality is also improving from the bank. And now, see, we have spoken about the asset quality, we have spoken about the profit and loss statement. Let's look at the other parameters which contributes to the profitability, which includes the net interest margin, cost to income ratio, yield, all those things. So that is also very important for us, right? Because if, unless and until the net interest margin doesn't increase, the cost to income ratio does not decrease, right? It will be very difficult for them to make money. So if you look at the screen over here, right? So the net interest margin has improved from 16% last quarter to almost 17.4%. If you look at the cost to ratio, that has come down to 44.3%. Yield is almost stable, slightly improved from 25.5% to 26.5%. And we can clearly see that the asset quality is improving. And here is the most important return on asset and return on equity. So if you look at Q1 of FY26, the return on asset, which was almost minus 2.7%, now it has improved to 6.4%. Return on equity was around minus 6.7%, now it has improved to 18.9%. So if we look over here also, right, it's not just the numbers, the loan, the overall profit numbers are also, and that is the reason why they were been able to make a profit. And if I talk about the con call, right, and what does the management say, and what are the most important things I want to highlight, right? So first of all, what the management said, right, that the things are improving. Collection trends have remained stable. New how to say loans which are going portfolio at risk has reduced. And another important thing is the borrower behavior is changing. But at the same time, what the management said, right, we cannot conclude 110% that the cycle is completely turned around and things are getting better, because there are still some factors, especially macroeconomic factors, which could have an mm, uh, impact. But otherwise, overall things are definitely improving. And if you look in terms of the coverage of the microfinance portfolio, right, so there is a scheme run by central government which helps them to whatever the microfinance portfolio is there for such NBFCs, they can cover them. So for Arman Financial, they have covered 90% of their microfinance portfolio under the CGMFU scheme. And if we talk about the guidance number, management did not give any guidance or any specific numbers about the growth. But see, sometimes management might not give it, management might not talk about say any specific numbers. But the way things are improving in the business, with the way the management speaks or how the business has performed earlier, if we take all these things into consideration now, we can at least come to a specific number. It might not be completely right, but it might be close to it. So if you look at how things are improving and how the microfinance cycle is turning, right, and how Arman Financial has done earlier, right? I mean, earlier they used to grow before the things went back to close to around 40 to 45%. Even if I be conservative and see, I think they can easily grow between 25 to 30% easily on the lower side, I'm saying, with the way things are improving. That's definitely doable for them. And yeah, and I mean, to be very honest, I have nothing to complain against the result, because they have completely turned around by started making a profit and things are improving. I think the only thing that I would look at is the GNPA and NPA for the loan against property, whether things are going to get better or things are going to get worse. As of now, because it's a small part of the portfolio, it might not have that much impact, but in future, if it grows and if things don't improve, that could be a problem. And if you guys like this video and the analysis, please do hit like and subscribe to my channel, because that is very important for me. Because when I see the numbers and I go through it, right, almost 90 to 95% of the people who watch my video haven't subscribed to my channel. So please do subscribe to it, because this definitely helps my channel grow and helps me to reach out to more and more people, to share this analysis, to share my knowledge and help them grow. Thank you and God bless you.